But anyway, welcome to the 2017-2018 academic year. We're excited about what this year is going to bring, and we're going to start off with President Blake. Please welcome him.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Please, those of you at the back, come and find seats. There are plenty up here. We would want you to be comfortable. I would like to thank Nancy for the introduction and echo her comments. This is the start of a new academic year. We always end the academic year on a high with commencement. It's our tradition now that we begin the academic year on a high as well. And that's why we're gathering today from across all of our campuses. And I realize for many of you, you will have walked not only from the coffee table to here, but you will have driven 30 or 40 or 50 miles this morning. So I thank you for making that trip. And it's important we come together once a year. It's important we do that, not only when the students graduate and we celebrate their success, but when we come together as faculty and staff, we can understand that their success is dependent on what we do and understand by our work. And I'm here to thank all of us for what we do to make commencement such a success in 10 months' time. Now, a little bit about today. We're doing something slightly different. I'm going to speak for a few minutes now, and then we're going to move to recognize our employees who have given years of service at Middle Georgia State. And we're also going to initiate for the first time a staff awards program. Our faculty had their awards celebrated in the spring. Today we initiate for the first time staff awards, so I'm looking forward to that. Then, as Nancy mentioned, we will break into our divisions and we will meet again for lunch and fellowship and conversation before we depart for the day. One other sort of introduction. Could we turn the volume a little bit down? We're getting a bit high, I think. Thank you. One other piece I want to do by way of starting is to say many people have helped organize this morning. We have our facilities employees, we have had our police and public safety, we've had technology, we've had Sodexo, we've had the conference staff, all work with the Office of President, and many others have also helped to bring this event together. Let's show them a round of appreciation for what they've done. I also want to welcome two of our members of our foundation, our trustees from our foundation, Bob Walker and Jane Perfect. Would you put your hands up so we can thank you for being here today? As you'll hear, our foundation is becoming more and more critical in our success as a university. And perhaps the most important introduction I can make at this point is that many people sitting in this room have not been to Convocation before. And so I would like to invite all our staff and our faculty who have joined Middle Georgia State this summer, who have been here, who have come to us since we had commencement. At this point, would you, if you're able, please rise so that we can acknowledge your presence here today. Please stand if you are new to Middle Georgia State. Thank you. We welcome you. Now, what I'm going to do is speak for a few minutes on a theme of delivering on greatness. 3 years ago, we started a strategic plan. This year, we will finish it. We will deliver it. We will fulfill the promise we made 3 years ago. And the way that I would like to do that this morning is in this agenda. We're going to look back on what I am describing as a great year. We have had a very successful year. We have had challenges, we have had difficulties, but we've had great success. I then would like to talk about what I call the vital signs. You're familiar with that term, vital signs. You know, right, when you go to the doctor, they measure your pulse and your blood pressure and all the rest of it. What are the vital signs today sitting here that indicate our health? And finally, I'd like to talk about how I imagine that we might finish this plan well. Before I start, a moment ago, I asked our tech friends to lower the volume. Can you still hear me at the back clearly? Great, thank you. We're good. We got the right volume. So terrific. So let's go through some of these pieces here. This was the plan. This was the plan that 3 years ago we outlined, and we called it Greatness Begins Here. And beginning was a great idea because we were just starting as a new university, consolidated and a university. And then we got out of the starting block rather quickly. We had 47 initiatives in that first year. Perhaps with hindsight, we might have had a few less than that, but we had 47 and we did a lot of them. We did 28 and we began 17. In the second year, we learned from that, and we had our theme was greatness in the making. We're still making this university. It's coming together. And we had 20 initiatives, and we continued 12 of those from the year before, but we completed another 14. In short, we have had amazing work. I'm not sure that we often remember that our work starts here with a statement some years ago about what we needed to do. And I'm really proud that we've been able to make such success moving in that direction. Let's look back. Progress to Date is the title of that. I want to go back over some great things, go through them fairly quickly, but some great things in this last year that slip the mind, but that define who we are. First of all, we were recognized by the university system as a jewel in the middle of the state. They awarded us in the service excellence. We were the Gold Institution of the Year. We came #1 last fall. We did that because we worked hard, intentionally, and under difficult conditions of trying to understand how do you have a university over 180 miles with a very affordable rate and still do great things. The USG and the Board of Regents said, yes, you are doing great things. We were selected as Gold Institution of the Year. That was a huge recognition by the group that has tasked us with being accountable to the people of Georgia. Secondly, we expanded our academic programming. I really want to congratulate our schools that have ventured into the area of graduate level work. Our schools already of health sciences and of information technology did this a couple of years ago. But this summer, our School of Business and our School of Education launched new degrees. And I can say that this chart, I mean, if you look at graduate enrollment, as of this morning, Dean Kevin Cantwell emailed me last evening, we have 106 students registered in our graduate programs. And I have no doubt that those numbers will rise over the next few years as we continue to develop our graduate programming. So to those schools and to Dean Cantwell, I thank you for the leadership and for the making greatness at the graduate level. That's a university vision coming into practice. We also, and I'm sampling different experiences here. Let's look at our athletics. Our new athletic director, Chip Smith, arrived just a month ago, and he arrives at a good time in athletics. We were the baseball champions in the regular season. We are now an NAIA 5-star silver institution. That is the Champions of Character program that measures how much the student athletes show integrity, servant leadership, respect, responsibility, values that don't get reported in the media about athletics. We don't see that in the media. We see the trouble with athletics. We are now a silver institution, and I'm very, very proud that when we were in the junior league, Middle Georgia College's baseball, we're national champions, and there was anxiety. How would we perform? How would we do in the NAIA? We were the regular season champions in the NAIA. So congratulations to our student athletes. They still perform at high level academically, some of the highest in the system. We have athletics now in Cochrane and in Macon. I'm proud of what our coaches are doing and what our student athletes are doing to show that a whole education has the capacity for excellence in sport as well as excellence in the classroom. So my congratulations to athletics. Doctors Laura Thomason and Krista Wadawa this year led the Knights Impact Study Abroad program in the Dominican Republic. 25 students went out there, helped in ecology projects, did work in the developing world. This is first for us. It's not first for other institutions. Lots of schools have had study abroad, but we are making greatness. We're building it. There's no shame in starting to build out the foundation. And this is a great program. And I say not only as president of this institution, but as a father of a son who just came back this semester from a study abroad program in Panama. These are life-changing opportunities. Not all our students will be able to do this, but those that can, we should provide that kind of opportunity for them. I'm really proud of the work that Albert Abrams has been doing in getting our legislators to realize what a gem we have in our aviation school. Dean Clark and I have spent the last 2 days, actually, on the road talking to people about aviation. And yesterday we were down at Gulfstream, and that is a mind-blowing operation. Good Lord, and none of us in this room, I doubt, will ever buy a Gulfstream aircraft. But being able to look at them being built is pretty cool, even if you can't fly one. But our aviation school has been able to expand because Albert and others and the work that Aidan have done and Amy have done have been able to put aviation in the minds of our legislators, the university system, and the Board of Regents. This week we had a call from Delta Airlines about a possible partnership. So aviation had a great year. I know for our aviation faculty, you're tired, you work long hours, it's hard, but it's still been great work. This year, we also, again, with the help of Albert, we formed the University Advisory Council. This university's never had an advisory council. This advises me. It draws from leaders across the state, from emerging professions, from nonprofits, from the health sector, from education, individuals like the head of Georgia Public Broadcasting, part of this. So we have now got a governance structure that recognizes that this university needs advice and help. And we've built that in this year. I'm also so proud of the work that our students and our staff have done. And this was kind of spearheaded by Janae, but also Jennifer Brannon over the last 2 years in creating a diversity council that recognizes diversity of person and of mind is essential to a university. And now we have a statement that will drive the work of this council and a logo that will celebrate that this heritage of this university is stronger because it draws from the population around the state. Young and old, urban, rural, part-time, full-time, Macon Cochran. Everything about us reaches and touches the communities, and this will help us know why. I'm also delighted, and it's really fitting that we have two of our trustees here today, that we have had a successful year with our first year of our capital campaign. Last year, I told you we were going to raise, for the first time in 10 years, double-digit campaign total of $11 million. This year, we've raised 1.6, and it's still the quiet phase, so we have to be quiet about that, okay? But what we will do is make sure each year I report to you, and we need to add to this, and we will be going out and seeking several multi-million-dollar gifts in this year in order to sustain this university. You'll see later why philanthropy is necessary alongside all the other ways that we make our revenue, make our budget. But I want to thank you, and I want to thank us, because we have seen a considerable increase in employee participation. When I joined, employee participation in contributing to the annual fund was at about 55%. It's now close to 70%. Thank you for what we are doing. Because even if you can only give a few dollars, that doesn't matter. It's when I and our new vice president who's joining us today, Ken Fincher, when we go and meet donors, the first thing people say to me is, how many of your employees give to Middle Georgia State, and how many of your alumni give to Middle Georgia State? And both our alumni and our employee rates are moving upwards, notably every year. So if you have given, I thank you, please give. If you have not, please think about contributing. even a very, very small amount. It will make a difference in generating larger gifts for the university. Complete College Georgia. Chancellor Wrigley, I nearly said Chancellor Huckabee, but that would have been embarrassing. Chancellor Wrigley, Steve Wrigley, has made this his #1 goal as Chancellor. He's written to all the presidents saying, we will be measured and assessed on this performance. Now, many people still, I think, are not sure what the university system hasn't done a grand job of explaining Complete College Georgia. What Complete College Georgia says is simple. We are successful when we graduate students. Graduate. Not bring them in at the beginning, not even keep them going through the pipeline, but in the end, they need to leave with a credential, because Governor Deal has said that at the moment, only 42% of students in Georgia who go to school, only 42% ever graduate. More than half, they don't get a credential. Now, we love having them here, but really, do we want them to come and pay tuition and work hard and never get a credential? No, we don't. Governor Deal has said that by 2020, Georgia will have 60% of all students leaving with a credential, maybe a certificate, maybe an associate's or bachelor's or master's, other institutions a doctorate. But we need to remember that our ability to recruit students is essential. Our ability to schedule classes to help them move down is essential. But in the end, the most important goal is to graduate them. Because our job is to lose, I'm going to use the language here, several have said, we don't like to look upon students as customers, but forgive me for one moment to use that word. Our customers, our job is to get them to leave with a credential. Verizon, I've said this before, never wants me to leave their phone plan. I have no idea how I could leave their phone plan. I really don't. It's confusing, because if you go in and ask, can I leave? Oh, no, no, no. If only it was that simple. But the truth is, this is what counts. And we are having, and I'm proud to say this, we have seen a notable increase. In 4 years, our first-time bachelor students, first-time, full-time bachelor students, before consolidation, or at the time of consolidation, only 30% of those went on to graduation. We have raised that to 42% over the last 4 years. So I thank our advisors and our faculty and our financial aid people and our staff that have encouraged students and helped them and scheduled their programs to succeed. We've got that rate up. Now we need to do it across other categories, but there has been marked success in 4 years. And vital signs is where we move on to. I'm piggybacking, looking back to now, where are we today? Take a look. I don't think this has a little red thing on it. So if you can look, I can't point to where I want you to look, but students who began full time, would you look at that, please? In 4 years, we're now over 70%. There's a 71.07% in terms of retention, holding on to them. The message of today is that I'm asking us to develop a plan across our campuses that in the most cost-effective way allows our students the quickest way to follow a route from coming here, moving through their schedules, and graduating. We need an academic and an enrollment plan. We will have one by next spring, because you'll see it's a goal that I'm going to hold us accountable to fulfilling. But that plan will drive these numbers upwards. And then, I believe, we really will be known as a great university that does great things. And the reason that we need to be doing this is that we are so dependent on the students that come here. Now, I don't want what I say in the next 2 minutes to undermine what I just said about graduation. I said we want our students to go. We do, with a degree. But we also want them to come and stay and learn and then leave. And I want to, do you remember this time last year, those of you that were here, I showed you in 2016 that I've got a green little... Somebody did that for me. Hey, if ever you've heard, the the president has the wand. No, he doesn't. There's no magic wand. Someone else has the wand. Okay. So actually, Francis, you got that. Go to 16, please, not 15. This time last year, I sat here or stood here with you. I said, we have a big, big job in the next 2 weeks, and I'm not sure we'll be able to do it. Do you remember that? Does anyone kind of think, yeah, vaguely I can remember we were a long way off. These things are called credit hours. Now, students are people, they're not credit hours. However, when a student is at Middle Georgia State, the amount of hours they study gets turned into dollars. Dollars, simple as that. And we were lagging. We needed to narrow that gap. We had 8,000 credit hours. And we never came back again 3 weeks later, but I wanted to get everybody back in this room last August. I want to say, we did it. We did it. And I did not, truthfully, in my heart, think we would do it, but we exceeded that. And we had an enrollment growth last fall. And I'll show you what that did for the dollar amount in a moment. We had an enrollment growth. As of Wednesday, look at the gap we've got this year. We're 9,400 hours behind where we need to get. Now, I have got some great news, but I'm not going to put it up there, because I don't want people to get clouded by it. We actually had 1,300 hours of registration yesterday. We have 1,300 hours. So we're making progress, but we now, and you know your jobs better than me. I don't know what needs to happen in the registrar's office or with an advisor or with a faculty member and the limit on their classes and whether they can take in 1 or 2 extra students. You know that. I don't know that. But what I can say to you, the decisions that we make in the next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely vital to the whole year ahead of us and to the options for future years. So if we, in our work, have any potential to narrow that 9,400 and to reduce it day by day, hour by hour, if it means staying longer, please stay. If we need you to be open and you think it's beneficial, tell Nancy Stroud, and she knows that she's authorized to do that and to bring in people to help you with that. We want to narrow this gap. Now, I have no idea any more than anyone in this room where we will end up, but our goal is simple, 84,555. If we can match what we did last fall, we have reason to celebrate and be happy and congratulate each other and collaborate and say, a team job well done. It takes everyone to do this, everyone in this room, including me as president. I feel really sorry for 2 people last night who I hounded to register, and Margot Woodman is meeting one of them on Monday to get her into Alex's cyber forensics class. But I got 1 student to say that she's coming in on Monday to enroll. I did that last night at 6 o'clock. And it wasn't planned. It was just one of those random, oh no, you're going to Middle Georgia State. If everyone in this room did that, we would just blow the ceiling. So please, everyone, we're going to narrow that gap, and in about 2 weeks' time after drop ad, we will know where we got to. But we got 2 weeks. We did it last year. We managed to go all of that. But Francis, give us that's it. We did that last year. We can do this year, I believe. Why does that matter? This is what matters. Actually, let me get this. I want the wand. I want the magic wand. The fun thing was see if I know how to use it. Look at what happened. This is a really interesting, well, to me it's interesting. It may look boring, but I want you to understand. Down here it says state appropriations. The state of Georgia gives us money, about 50% of our budget, dependent on enrollment. And over the last 5 years, our enrollment dipped, and so our money dipped. Look at that. And actually, over those 5 years, we lost about $7 million in funding. Nancy's nodding. About $7 million disappeared over 5 years because enrollment went down. And they next year said, sorry, they reward the winners. And candidly, They punish the losers. I can't change that. The Chancellor actually can't change that. That's the state of Georgia law. And we live with it, whether we like it or not. But look what we did last year. We went up, and we went up because we enrolled more students, and that's what we're getting this year. We have a balanced budget for this year. We have a balanced budget. The other way we get money primarily is through tuition and student fees. And look, that was dipping, but that's gone up. We were given a very slight tuition increase 2 years ago. Money has gone up. Colleagues, folks, we need to make sure that we don't see that go down next year. And you know how we stop that from happening next year? We close that gap on registration between today and 2 weeks' time. And then we work immediately. And I'm being very intrusive in this enrollment issue recently. And I'm going to go on because I believe in this institution and sustaining this institution. And I make no apologies for that. But what we need to do is immediately, once drop out is done, we need to think about spring. We need to be straight on spring. And then we need to think about summer, which sees more and more online learning, which is great. So if you're on the edge of thinking, shall I teach an online course? I invite you to go back and say, I'm going to do that online course. In short, we are going to be in a collective action and a collective conversation about making sure that that line goes back upwards. And I hate as president to talk just about money. But money's real, and money's real to us because we have a fantastic message, but it's a tough one. It's a great message if these folks in marketing are listening, because they know it's the best message. Marketing and recruitment have a real heavy-hitting back, and that is that Middle Georgia State is the most affordable university in this state, public or private. That's a fantastic message if you're a student. It's a great message if you're a parent. It's a great message if you're Chris Blake talking to a donor, saying, we don't charge $50,000 a semester. You get a 4-year degree for $20,000 here. No one else can say that. But it does mean this, that we in this room, and I thank you for this, your budgets are small. Your staffing is inadequate. You work long hours. You cover for each other. You do overloads. You wait and wait for a position that you've been asking for 3 years. I understand that is difficult, but you can be proud of what we are doing with it. We're making a real difference and we're getting noticed for it. But we now want to make sure, no, I'm going too fast. We want to make sure that we sustain ourselves. We've got a great budget from state appropriations this year. We want to hold it. Okay, enough on money and enrollment for now. I do want to say this, Dr. Kevin Cantwell. Kevin, wherever you are, I'm grateful. Kevin is our new SACS liaison. We work in a part of the country that has one of the toughest accrediting bodies in the nation, SACS. They're hard. And we have successfully removed, we were on monitoring for 4 recommendations. 3 of those have been removed. Our reports were excellent. They achieved them. There's 1 more. And we have to submit a report by next April. And this is super important. And it's a report on our community and public service, which is kind of ironic because we're grounded in the community. We have great communities. We do lots with them, but we need to collect data. We need to analyze and assess that data, and we need to feed it back into what we do. So Kevin is spearheading a team of people, and I am asking all of us to work. If you're asked for information, it's important. It's up there in my vital signs today. It can't be seen as, oh, it's SACS, it's something other. No, it's not. It's really important. But please, let's pull on that one and get that removed. And I'm really happy to say, here's a vital sign that is just hard work, but wonderful. And it is hard work. We have on this campus in 2 months' time, the entire Board of Regents and the presidents and the senior staff of all the universities here for 2 days and just over 24 hours. They will be on the Macon campus. They're going to see the Macon downtown airport with our aviation fleet. No one tell them this. It kind of reminds me of King Henry VIII with his court traveling around and everybody making sure they're well fed and well put up with. And we have the Board of Regents coming. And it's a vital sign because we beat out 2 other very, very strong universities to get this privilege. And it is a privilege. And that's why it's a great sign. It's a sense of confidence in what we're doing. It's a sense of confidence in our mission. And it's going to take a ton of effort, and Albert and his team are already onto it. And I would ask us to please help, please be part of it. If you're invited to an event, it's important that you come and best foot forward. And then we can all, on that week, it's the 10th and the 11th of October, the 10th and the 11th of October. And, you know, on the 12th of October, we can relax, we can sit back. Unless they're unhappy, in which case I won't be relaxing, that's for sure. Okay. So I want to move on to my third and final part. And this is where, do you remember at the beginning, Nancy talked about, you have on your chair 3 documents. I want to explain these 3 documents briefly. Excuse me when I take a sip. One of them is a financial piece. And I'm grateful that our Office of Fiscal Affairs has taken what I've just said about money and the importance of how to run a university as the most affordable when our tuition is at a level which is extremely affordable. This is a very powerful, I'm not going to talk through it now, but I want you to be able to have this, keep it on your desk, keep it in your drawer, keep it in your briefcase. But when you're understanding how do we fund Middle Georgia State, where do we get our money and how do we spend it, this is the cheat sheet. And I'm going to ask Nancy to keep updating this. I mean, maybe not paper version, but maybe an electronic version every few months. So you can track how we're performing and how we're paying the bills. The other piece is a really nice elevator speech that our marketing folks have given us, Marcom, which is a short little, almost like a business card in half. And that gives you a number of key comments, key value propositions, to use the language, about Middle Georgia State. When you're asked, I don't know much about Middle Georgia State, or tell me about Middle Georgia State, if you keep that in your wallet or your purse, you'll be able to give a good answer on an elevator. Candidly, that's always the best. 30-second answers are the best. And finally, and this is the one, this is where we're finishing our plan well. I called this address Delivering on Greatness. Here's the delivery guide. This is the kind of Google map of how to get there quickly. In this coming year, we're not going to do 47 initiatives or 20 initiatives. We're doing 10. We're doing 10 things. And most of those build on existing work. They're not brand new expansions. Only 3 are. And I want you to be aware that those 3 are in here when I go through the way to remember them. They're not color-coded, but in my mind, 370. Number 3, number 7, and number 0. Those are really important. I'm going to mention what they are in just a second. But we're only going to do 3 major pieces, and those pieces, in large part, come out of what you told us a year ago. A year ago, I stood up here and said, we have been told that the administration does not listen or communicate. So we had after the faculty staff climate survey. And this year, the faculty and staff broke into groups and brought recommendations to me. And these are now being implemented. That's what we're doing. We're going to implement the recommendations of the faculty staff climate group. First of all, and you'll see these break into various 4 groups down the left of that. Enrollment. This year is the year to finish out a plan. We must know where we can get maximum leverage. If this was an engine, where is, to use an engineering term, where is the ergonomic strength of this engine? Where can we drive? Where do we get the torque? Where do we get the thrust forward? And at the heart of that will need to be an academic plan which will drive our enrollment strategy and also a technology plan. And to those of us who have this responsibility, that is my first initiative that I'm saying we have to think about this year. We cannot fulfill our mission under the conditions we have unless we are clear on this. So that's the first priority. The second one, Pam Bedwell has done a yeoman's task in getting us ready for what will be an intrusive advising system of students. And it's called the Armory. And I understand that it's pitched particularly at first and second year students. That may be freshmen and sophomores, but it might not be. You can be a first and second year student and not be a sophomore. But it's about pulling together various strengths to make sure no student falls by the way. So the person that Margot is seeing on Monday isn't really sure if the class she took would transfer and doesn't, and wants to start but hasn't got round to it. And I suggest you are getting round to it. It's either Friday at 11 o'clock or it's Monday at 9 a.m. I said, I'll be there Monday at 9. Well, that kind of student who's coming in, we want to keep an eye on that student as she or he progresses. And this will need to do it. And I congratulate and thank Pam and the advisors that they are going to initiate a new strategy around the idea of armory. Armory coming from the Knights. We are the Knights and they have an armory. This is going to be intrusive on students. No apologies. And we don't want to say to a student, well, come back and, kind of like, let me know in a few weeks what you might be interested in. We don't want to let them out the door. I'm also really grateful that we're beginning to build our academic inventory larger. So we have proposals in respiratory therapy, engineering technology, Master of Social Works, and a graduate certificate in data analytics. These are going up to the Board of Regents. Dr. Hatch and I have been talking with the USG this week about getting these aggressively approved so we can start them. We need to build our academic inventory. The second area was governance and community in your list. And I want to tell you about two new initiatives that are starting. The first one is this. Vicky Smith and HR are going to establish leadership training. We will be allowing staff and faculty who are interested to go through a leadership program. At the moment, there's lots in the community. Michael's on one at the moment, I believe, Make Leadership Macon. But we want to make sure that we also have an in-house leadership training program, and we're going to launch that this year. More from Vicky and her team in just a few weeks' time. We also heard from the faculty and staff committees that there was not enough communication. So we're establishing for the first time to implement the staff recommendations, I hate to call this word, it's not a good word, but it's simple for today, a middle management group that will meet monthly. Across all campuses, we will meet. We will come together and discuss what do we have in common? What are the challenges of Eastman that are different from Warner Robins? What can we learn from what Eastman and what Warner Robins are doing? We're going to establish a face-to-face group that, again, will be spearheaded by human resources to make sure that that takes place. And I congratulate the Office of Technology Resources. Roger and your team, thank you for having our first intranet issued. And I hate to put you on the spot. When will the intranet come out, Roger? Okay, you heard that. Couple of months. So this, by the time the winter, we heard the first one, Roger, the couple. We didn't hear the 3 or 4. We're having an intranet. Back to revenue. I harped on about enrollment, but we also need to do this. The faculty committee recommended that we need to build our grants. So we have built into the budget a grant writer. We've never had a grant writer. Faculty, I thank you. So often, Kerry Wimberley brings to me faculty grants for my final signature. And I think they've done this out of their own initiative. We're grateful that our faculty are applying for money to do their work and develop their scholarship and their teaching. And now we're going to help you with a designated full-time position in grant writing. It's in the budget. It will be housed in the advancement team, but it will service across the institution. And secondly, and I've already mentioned this, and I'm glad our trustees have heard me say this, we aggressively will raise outside money in our campaign. money that gives to scholarships, money that furnishes classrooms and laboratories, or laboratories, whatever. We will make sure that we supplement, because we need to do our bread and butter, and we need to supplement it. And here's another piece. Atlanta needs to continue to pony up the heavy dollars. And Albert and I will be working the halls of the General Assembly, as well as even before they go up, to make sure we get significant new money from Atlanta. Money for special projects like renovations, but also the money, the 1.8 extra in appropriations they gave us because they felt we're working hard as a university. We need that from Atlanta. And I would ask you to do this. If you have legislative relations, please keep Albert informed of any conversations you have, because we need to coordinate on this. And this will be a major part of my time. I apologize I don't get to see many of us on a regular basis on each campus, but please understand I'm working to try and get this kind of stuff from Atlanta, as well as from our donor base. That's a better use of how I can help with the resource issue. But finally, you've heard me go on about this, but I'm going to finish on this note about enrollment. Enrollment volume is the key. Chancellor Wrigley will hold all the universities. I will bet you a packet of milk duds. I like milk duds. They're not good for me, but I will bet you a packet of milk duds that the university system does not raise tuition by more than 2 or 3% over the next 5 years. We are not in the climate in this country anymore of increased tuition. That's just unfortunate for us because we've got a good case for it, but that's politics, folks. When you've got $1.3 trillion of student debt, the country has no appetite for tuition increases, and the university system has no appetite for fee increases. I just looked at my son's University of Colorado fee list, and it made me really angry, because at those moments I become compartmentalized as a father, don't I? I'm not a president anymore. I have no sympathy for the University of Colorado's fiscal situation. None whatsoever. If I was the president now, I would. But look at that fee list, and it's, it ticks them off. So we can only do it by volume, numbers. And that's the reality. And why we're making history, and why we're going to be when they write the 25th anniversary book about Middle Georgia State, the decisions we make, the actions that we take in each of our offices and departments will be highlighted, and people will mention what happened back in the year 2015, 16, 17, and 18. So finally, we do this simply for students. We don't do it for our livelihoods. We don't do it because we like the name. We don't do it for any reason other than students. And our final two initiatives are about them. Jennifer Brannon and her team are expanding across their areas a new model of student programming to help with retention, to help with progression, to help them get to commencement next May. It's a team effort. It needs to integrate with academic learning, classroom experience, faculty engagement. But it's essential. It's essential. So the wonderful young person I met last night doesn't get confused about, well, I don't know what to do. Has a sense of, no, here's an invitation, take it, it works. And our final initiative is truly new. If the middle management group is a brand new initiative, this is a brand new one. Chancellor Wrigley phoned me a month ago. He said, Middle Georgia State is on the top of the list for additional housing facilities. And was thrilled, he said, here in Macon. Not because I prefer Macon, but because Macon needs it. This is our most populated campus, but it only has 300 beds. And we now have a downtown airport where I hope some aviation students would want to be, but at the moment, the aviation hall in Eastman is full, and Cochrane is not even near there, but Cochrane has done a fantastic job of putting students, but we need a new facility here. Chancellor Wrigley has told me we're top of the list, but it will be 3 years before this opens, 3 more years. And in those 3 years, we can't afford to wait. We need to be proactive. We need a housing plan. And I'm thrilled that this spring, our housing office started renting downtown. Small step, but an important step. We now have housing facilities in downtown Macon. And everybody loves downtown Macon at the moment. It's a cool place to be. Well, we need housing options developed aggressively so that when the recruiters are talking to prospective students, they know that they have options here, as well as in Cochrane, as well as in Eastman, or they can be commuters as well. That's part of the planning. When I talk about an academic plan, an enrollment plan, it means including this. There's no point in having an enrollment plan saying, oh, we want to attract students from Atlanta, but we don't have anywhere where they can stay. That doesn't work. That's why we're going to collectively solve this. So I thank you for listening. I thank you for your patience. I've talked for long enough, longer than I intended. We have other things to do this morning. I want to say that we are finishing this strategic plan this year. You will know that we will be searching for a new provost. When that person arrives, he or she will be tasked aggressively with working on developing a new plan, which will be launched next year at this meeting. We will share it, the new plan. I want all of us to shape that plan, to be a conversation, have a voice, to say what needs to happen. If you see something, say something. That kind of applies to us. If you see something in Warner Robins that's important, say something. If you see something in Macon that's important, say something. If you see something in Eastman that's important for the life of this university, say something. No one mind, certainly not the president's, can decide the future of a university. A university means a pluralistic set of voices and ideas, a collection in a system of thinking. That's what we're going to do. We're going to deliver on greatness this year. We need to finish our plan well, and then we need to get ready for the new one. And in the meantime, what are we doing for the next 2 weeks? Oh, we're registering students. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful year. It's been great to talk to you. And now Nancy and Vicky are joining us.
Put my glasses on so I could see something. Good morning, everyone. I am so proud this morning to announce that we will be honoring 37 individuals who have reached a milestone of service with Middle Georgia State University sometime between January 1 of this year and July 31st of this year. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for all you do every day to serve our mission. It is your energy, hard work, and dedication to our mission all these years that has allowed Middle Georgia State University to truly reach greatness. Thank you. Now we'd like to honor our 5-year Service Award recipients. Toya Coleman, Macon Police Department. Dwayne Day, Macon Department of Mathematics. Kim Johnson, Macon Department of Nursing. Leanne Johnson, Dublin Police Department. Heather McIntosh, Macon Career Services Department. Barry Newton, Cochrane Building Maintenance. Monica Oxley, Eastman Student Housing. Demetria Smith, Cochrane Student Housing. Dr. Darcy Sun, Macon Department of Health Services. Laura Terrell, Macon Recruitment and Admissions. Michael Thompson, Dublin Network Operations. Kathy Wilcox, Macon Department of Nursing. Jimmy Yawn, Eastman Custodial Department. And now we'd like to recognize those individuals who have completed 10 years of service. Jed Edge, Cochrane Office of the Registrar. Christy Falk, Eastman Campus Affairs. Susan Fox, Warner Robins Campus Store. Vincent Gill, Cochrane Athletic Department. Ruth Hageman, Macon Counseling Services. Lisa Henry, Eastman Department of Air Traffic Management. Carla Higgs, Dublin Department of Nursing. Dr. Alex Kuhang, Macon School of Information Technology. Sandy Little Herring, Macon Advising. Kathy Melton, Macon Plant Administration. Whitney Rowland, Macon Department of Natural Sciences. Karen Sandlin, Macon Plant Administration. Leanne Tribble, Dublin, Campus Affairs and Student Affairs. Jacob Wells, Warner Robins Police Department. Ann Williams, Cochrane Library. And now we'd like to honor the 5 individuals this year that have completed 15 years of service. Aiden Clark, Eastman School of Aviation. Shane Rowland, Cochrane Police Department. Sandy Taylor, Cochrane Custodial Department. Edward Weathersby, Eastman Department of Aviation Science and Management. And Jason Williams, Macon Grounds Department. And now we'd like to honor our 120-year recipient this year, David Sims, Macon Plant Administration. We have 2 25-year recipients this year. Phoebe, I've been practicing your last name, so I hope I get it right. Phoebe Rabelais. Warner Robins Campus Affairs. And Stacy Starley, Cochrane Recruitment and Admissions. And now we are so proud to honor the 35 years from Cheryl Seibert, Warner Robins Campus Affairs. Congratulations to all our award recipients this morning. Next on the program is Lee Greenway, and he'll be awarding the service awards for staff.
And let's just acknowledge all our employees again who've had awards. Congratulations.
Wow, there are a lot of people in this room. Let me just say, important career advice, before you accept a chairman position or anything like that, ask first if they're going to put you on a stage in front of literally every single one of your coworkers at some point. No, seriously, though, I could not be more honored than to be standing here this morning presenting the first annual Staff Recognition Awards for Middle Georgia State University. Historian and philosopher Will Durant, summarizing Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, writes, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. If that is indeed the case, then right here in this room today, we are shoulder to shoulder with excellence. The staff and faculty here at MGA make a habit of excellence in both word and deed, and repeatedly do so every day. It was with that in mind that the Staff Council last year took up the challenge of establishing 3 new awards, recognizing members of the MGA staff for their dedication to creating the best experience for our students, for our employees, and for the Middle Georgia region as a whole. It was not an easy task. It required committee work, approval and review at various levels of the administration, additional committee work, and the drafting of a 10-page document which recommended a little more committee work. But the result was certainly worth the effort. For this morning, we get to recognize 3 of MGA's brightest stars with our first staff awards, each of which comes with a $1,000 cash award. Before I announce our winners, I'd like to pause for just a moment to thank the members of the 2 committees whose hard work brought these awards to fruition. First, from the MGA Staff Council Professional Development and Staff Recognition Committee. How's that for a name? I'd like to thank Barbara Burns, Julie Davis, Carla Higgs, Paul Johnson, Jan Mims, Karen Sandlin, and Charles Smith. I'd also like to thank the 4 MGA trustees who graciously gave of their time to serve on the Staff Awards Selection Committee: Bob Walker, Sylvia McGee, Jane Perfect, and Charlotte Pipkin. Thanks to all of you for your hard work in making these awards a reality. I'd also like to take just a moment to acknowledge all of this year's nominees, 18 in all nominated by their colleagues and supervisors, and all deserving of recognition. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, without further ado, on to the first annual Service Excellence Award. For a staff member who has made exceptional contributions exceeding normal expectations to deliver superior service to members of the campus community and the community at large. The winner of the first annual Staff Service Excellence Award advises an average of 300 students quarterly, participates in regularly scheduled initiatives, manages incoming student orientation, and trains new faculty on advising procedures, all in one of MGA's largest and busiest schools. In her letter of nomination, a colleague writes, "Her work pattern exudes consistent and admirable professionalism, passion, and caring. She is absolutely a customer service role model." The winner of the Service Excellence Award from the School of Health Sciences is Lisa Kelly. Congratulations. Well, thank you. On to our next. The Unsung Hero Award is for a staff member who works behind the scenes and yet continues to go above and beyond the call of duty to improve the MGA experience for students, co-workers, faculty, and staff. This year's Unsung Hero, according to her nomination letter, works tirelessly to keep the department functioning smoothly internally, but also functioning smoothly as a component of the university. Going above and beyond her official duties to provide exceptional support to the students, working long hours and working from home. Her colleagues note that her work and dedication sometimes go unnoticed, but without her, the department would likely cease to function. From the Department of Mathematics, please join me in congratulating our unsung hero, Catherine Frost. Finally, the Champion Award for a staff member who has exemplified MGA's core values of stewardship, engagement, adaptability, and learning. In times of ever-decreasing resources, members of the MGA faculty are increasingly called upon to serve as utility infielders, taking on additional roles beyond their primary job descriptions, and this year's champion is no exception. Quote, "She functions as an active stakeholder in the success of Middle Georgia State. Her enthusiasm is contagious and well-suited for her dual-hatted role. She has helped increase MGA's engagement in the community and fostered relationships with civic partners in the surrounding cities and counties." Her nomination letter closes with, "The university is lucky to have her," and the staff council certainly agrees. From the divisions of both student and campus affairs, the 2017 Champion Award goes to Leanne Tribble. Let's have one more quick round of applause for our 2017 Staff Council Recognition Awards. At this point, I will turn things back over to Nancy Stroud, who will bring us to our conclusion.
Thanks, Lee. Okay, so that's the end of this session, and now we will adjourn to our breakout sessions. You'll see where they are right there. Please note, Finance and Operations is in a new place, Math Auditorium. So good luck on finding it. If you see anybody lost, please help them find their way. Thanks.